Okay, so the answers to the multiple choice section of the revision questions, first of all, it gives us the voltage in the primary, and it gives us the output of the secondary, okay, and the output voltage of the secondary. It tells us the output voltage. So we need to think about what the number of turns is going to be based upon V and V and 24. So we start with Vp of Vs equals Np over Ns, plug in our numbers there to find the number of turns on the primary to be 460. Straight away that gives us C or D. Then we think about what the power is. The output power, it says, is 60 watts. So we think, well, the input power is 60 watts, assume it's 100% efficient. If it was 100% efficient, that would give us 0.216 amps. Now it says less than 0.26 or more than 0.26. Given that it's not, well, as I say, not perfectly efficient, then it would have to be more than that on the primary, because obviously that's what's coming out on the secondary. All right, so that would give us D. Question 2, it shows us transformer. Again, it gives us the primary number of turns. It tells us the primary and the secondary voltage. So we've got an RMS value from 240 down to 112, and again it gives us the 60 watt output. So it wants to know what number of turns there'll be on the secondary coil. First of all, we simply shove it into the transformer equation and we get 150, which means it's got to be either A or C. Then we check out the powers and we find, well, it said when it's running a 60 watt lamp, okay, we think, what is the input power? So, well, the input power was 0.26 amps, as it says there, okay, at 240 volts. So the input power was 62.4 watts, okay. It tells us it's running a 60 watt light on the output, so we use the input versus the output to calculate the efficiency. So it's basically the useful out, which is 60, divided by the total, which is 62.4, and that gives you 96%. So of course that gives us the answer A. Right, for question 3, the output electromotive force can be increased by any of the 4 factors listed, and of course the only one that's not going to change, well, the one that's going to change the frequency will be the speed of rotation, because the actual angular, the frequency of rotation will be the frequency of the supply. So it's got to be C. Question 4 wants to know what the efficiency of the transformer is. It gives us the primary and secondary turns, and it tells us it's drawing this current of 0.26 from the 240 volt supply. The current in the secondary coil is 0.5 amps. So basically what we're going to do first of all is work out what the number of turns on the secondary coil is, okay. So we've got primary and secondary, what the secondary voltage is. We get the secondary voltage, there we go, and that comes out to be 100 volts. And then we'll plug that into the power equation. So I'll put this upside down here, but this should be on the top. The power output is going to be the 100 volts times by the current, which is 0.5, which they give you, and the power input will be 230 times by 0.26. Multiply that by 100 and you get 84%, which comes out at C. Alright, question 5 is more of a logic thing than anything else. Basically, if you look at these pictures, there is your EMF versus time. If you spin it twice as fast, basically you're going to get the time period will halve, so you get a whole waveform in half the time period. So it would be something like this. If you spin it twice as fast, you're going to get twice the change, so you would get double the EMF. But of course, it's saying the magnetic field has reduced to 0.5 of the original magnetic field, so we basically get twice the frequency, okay, with the same shape graph, same height for the EMF, which is of course B. So it's really just a sort of logic thing, this one. It is I've said twice omega, so a half frequency, also twice V. But because it's half B, we have half V, so twice first and then half a second time basically means it's the same EMF. Pretty pants description, but it's going to be B. All right, let's look at the next one. Question 6. This is just recall basically. All generators have a changing field in them. So does the AC power adapter, because that's just a transformer. The wings of an aircraft, anything cutting through a magnetic field, because the magnetic field of the Earth has a vertical component, that's going to induce an EMF. So a capacitor is just a store of charge. Okay, so it's got to be D for question 6. It's just recall. All right, finally, this one's quite cool. It shows us our vertical conducting rod. It shows us the field lines going this way. Basically, if the rod was moving that way, it wouldn't really do anything because it's got no particular area that it's sweeping to cut any flux. So what we have to think is, well, the EMF is BLV, and just to recall where that comes from, you would say, well, the EMF is the rate of change of flux against time, which is B times A over T, and the area is the length times by the width. Now, the width we can say will be really the distance travelled. I could just call that S for the distance travelled in a certain time, and say distance over time will be velocity. Okay, so that's V for velocity, and that gives us B. All right, next one, from this point on, we go to the paper. All right, in fact, that's the end of that video first.